Welcome to Yeshiva. Okay, if you're into sports, get out of that. If you're into workout, that's not chassidish. Okay, and even if we don't tell you, we're gonna make you feel guilty in a subconscious way that it's very guilty for you. So then you basically put out your fire. Is that a good thing? Do you even realize what you're doing? Why are you killing his fire? Oh, because it's not holy things. Does he have any kach? And does he have enthusiasm yet in Yiddishkeit? Because if he doesn't, you're in big trouble. That's big bad. Welcome to my 12th podcast where we speak about don't you dare put out my fire. Well, is that a good thing or bad thing? Well, doesn't it say that you can't really have the fire of the habahamis, nefesh of the kiss together? How do we balance this out? What's going on over here? Alrighty, I'm excited. Let's go. So, yes, there is this concept. On the one hand, we see that you can't have the fire, the passion of the animal soul, the nefesh habahamis, and the nefesh of the kiss at the same time. And this is where it comes from to don't get into your workout, don't get into anything animalistic. By the way, there's a big difference between Yetzer, hara and nefesh habahamis. You have to know the difference. Very, very important. Yetzer hara is things that is inherently, there's nothing good about it. You don't need something that's unhealthy. I may use an example you may not agree with, but you understand the point. Potato chips or candy, like I said in another podcast, which I don't believe is good, or at least alternatively better options. If you don't eat those things, that's fine. You're still gonna live. If anything, it's good if you don't eat those things. There's nothing good about it. But for example, protein, I'm not gonna say the examples because there's always, I'm not gonna get into technicals. So just say vaguely, protein, carbs, those foods that have it, you need it. And if you have a craving, a desire, a craving, a craving is the best word for something that has protein, something that has carbs. The problem is that usually it's mixed with other things and there's other factors. Why are you putting it out? That's what you need for your survival. But how does that fit with nefesh of the case? Okay, let's get into that. And this is where I'm speaking about this because unfortunately, like I was bringing out the point at the beginning of this video that obviously exaggerated to make it more interesting and funny, but it's sadly funny. Sadly the truth that I see going on. What is going on? Why are we putting out the fire? And it comes from what I said, but so how do we navigate this? So the nefesh habahamis is an innocent person. He is the way we survive. We can't survive without nefesh habahamis. You want to destroy someone, destroy the Yetzer hara, but nefesh habahamis you have to keep alive. Now the thing is we need to keep it in check. Make sure it doesn't overdo it. But here is the part that they don't tell you. The nefesh habahamis is there for your survival. It needs to take up space. Nefesh habahamis, let's use an example. Animals, right? Who comes first? Humans or animals? Humans. Yid and Jews come first before animals, right? We use it we use these things to elevate it. But the same Torah says that we need to elevate the animals and we come first. But it's not like, they don't matter. No, you can't destroy animals for no reason. You can't destroy trees for no reason. Tsar Balichai, Bal Tashkis, you can't. If you want to make a big house and it's for good reason, fine. But if you want to do it for stam, you want to kill animal stam, insect stam, you're not allowed to. Same thing in nefesh habahamis is literally an animal soul. You're not allowed to destroy it. And not only is it like it's in a way much worse because what you're doing, and it should sound obvious, but I guess it's not, because unfortunately I see around that it's not obvious, and unfortunately we see the consequences. If you destroying the nefesh habahamis, which means practically you are taking out the passion, you are putting out the fire of the nefesh habahamis, whether that be through food cravings, whether that be through not exercising, whether that be doing things that you enjoy doing, innocent things, klipas niglah, neutral things like playing ping pong, like doing tennis, like doing habits, just going out and walking in nature. Even that maybe, that they say it's fine, maybe, whatever. You get the point. If you take away these neutral energy things, when this condition doesn't apply, which I will say soon, it's terrible. Now, what's this one condition that we're talking about? When is it okay, so to say, to actually do this? So this is the part they don't tell you. And it's very important. it's only okay to push out the habahamis, so to say, to put out the fire, but not in a bad way. Because you have a better fire. What do you mean? And actually the kiss, it's very interesting. The nefesh habahamis is what keeps you alive physically. The nefesh kiss, at the same time, nefesh kiss also is the one behind the scenes who gives life to the nefesh habahamis. But, you know how, okay, you still need to eat at the end of the day, but sometimes you can push your limits. And when you push your limits, there's a big difference between you being forced to, and it's totally against your psychological will to do it. So that's breaking you, and not in a good way. Versus breaking you, but it's coming from you. You want to, let's say a workout is a good example. You want to build that muscle. You want to break yourself and you feel good about it, and it's a good way. And I'm taking it also in a spiritual sense. I'm sure the case. You're going out of your way. You feel good to go out of time. You feel good to learn Torah an extra longer, whatever it is. You feel good doing that, and it comes at the expense of eating a little less, waiting a little longer to eat, or not doing the whole hour of exercise you plan on doing. But you have that fire in the nefesh kiss. So then, when the nefesh kiss needs more space, and needs is relative. I mean, what does it mean need more space? Well, if you feel and this is the key. And I keep saying this because I feel like there's this gap. We need to fill up this gap to combine the both worlds, the both sides. The nefesh habahamis, nefesh kiss needs this middle. The nefesh hasichas, the psychological part, to fill in this gap. This psychological gap is that you feel that when you're breaking yourself, you feel good about it, and if you feel good about doing that extra Torah, doing that extra mitzvah, going out of yourself, then that's fine. Unless and it reaches a point where that's it. You need to eat something, or don't have klais nefesh. That probably won't happen. But at least the first one is very likely that, and it's very hard. It's the balance of life. It's the dance of life, the juggle of life. That we sometimes nefesh kiss needs more space, so you want to have more space, but it's not ruining you. It's adrab. If it's better fire. So yeah, this is the thing we need to do. And by the way, there's kind of a source for this. Rebbe, where someone told him something about how he saw the face of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and it was like the face of his father or grandfather. Sorry if I'm not quoting the details. If you know the story, I don't remember the details. I remember the point of the story. The point is what matters. Whatever it was something that the point of it wasn't something that was holy or unholy. It was neutral. It was like, okay, it was a fact. It was like very nice. And the Rebbe didn't, and the way the guy told you, he was so passionate about it. And the Rebbe said that I didn't want to put out his fire. In whatever words he didn't, probably didn't use English, whatever words he said, he didn't want to put out his fire. I was like, what? I mean, but it's a wrong fact. It's a wrong fact. Tell him it's good for him to know that this is not what he's saying is not true. So you see over here how important it is. This is an example where we see how important it is not to put out someone's fire. You only can do that when you can you can replace it. Replace it is the key. It is the key that we need to remember. You don't, like in a diet, you don't take away the candies, you don't take away the refined sugar. You replace it. That is the secret of a long-lasting, everlasting, long-lasting thing that you can keep up to. So too over here, the long-lasting is that you have this balance of nefesh kiss and nefesh habahamis. And by the way, this should be so obvious, but I'll say it anyways, because even though this is like not the obvious part, but the obvious part, and I'm not gonna say it because unfortunately I see it, and either people somehow doesn't click at them, or I'm just bringing a wake-up call. This is where you have good intentions, right? Yeshiva has good intentions that they want to really bring out the nefesh, the fire, the nefesh kiss properly. You can't be so passionate about the nefesh habahamis. Okay, I understand that, but how much more so when just for the fun of it, mocking someone, putting out his fire? Whether it could be in so many ways. It could be in a physical sense where you're just making fun of, putting down someone is terrible. There's so many ways a person can put out his fire. So should be obvious, but unfortunately I see it so common. It's a terrible, terrible thing to put out someone's fire. It's psychologically killing him. Which, and in a way it's worse because you don't feel it. It's like hara. You don't really see how it kills. So it could be you're making fun of his size, what he eats, the way he looks, the way he sounds, the way he this, the way he that. emotionally, mentally, this. He doesn't learn well. He does mitzvahs weirdly. He's not doing the right thing properly. Even when it comes to, this is a famous example, especially in Chabad. Oh, why are you learning Gemara on Shabbos? This is like side hit. Why are you learning Gemara on Shabbos? You're supposed to be learning Chassidus. Excuse me? First of all, it says you should be learning at least 1/3 Niglah on Shabbos. Okay? And usually, what ends up happening for those ultra Chassidic people that want to learn only Chassidish and Shabbos or focus on Chassidish and Shabbos, what ends up happening when they don't do that part of Niglah is at best they do waste their time nothing, sleeping or playing a game. But usually worse, a lashon hara, doing other bad things we won't say. So what is going on? Again, this also ties into the, I want to get our priorities straight. I mentioned in my other podcast about Derech Eretz Kadmon L'Torah. I mean, we see this has happened in general with Niglah, that when we put down, our specialty is Chassidus, and we're putting out the fire of Niglah, we're not supposed to, it's not to take away. They said, like I said, by Chinuch, that when Rebbe got into Shlichus, so we hopped onto that train of Shlichus, and then we forget about Chinuch. Likewise, the same thing with Chassidus. When Chassidus was the thing, so we're forgetting about Niglah. Hello? It wasn't supposed to replace Niglah. This was supposed to be an addition. It's supposed to not take away the fire of Niglah. It was supposed to be, under Adrabah, our Niglah is supposed to be even better. By the way, is also a big factor, an ingredient, a very important ingredient, which, by the way, this is a very important ingredient for happiness, simcha. That, yes, it's better to have simcha through the nefesh things. But if he is not holding there, if there's no reason to push out the habahamis, fire equals happiness. Fire can't be out and have happiness. So if it's not going to be nefesh, that's because you don't have it in the things that are nefesh things, they're holy things. Doesn't mean that you're going to have it at all. On the contrary, you should have at least the things that are neutral, things like I said, like playing sports and things like that. So that should give you that your fire is still alive, so you can be happy. Which, by the way, an aside point, that if you want to be a pnimi, you got to do exercise. The 3 things the Rebbe said if you want to be a pnimi is Brias Haguf, Parak Mem Aleph, the beginning at least, and being Shmir Sazarim. We can talk about more details in another podcast. Yeah. All right. Hope I mentioned all the examples. There's so many places to express itself, and we can bring about it. And hopefully in another podcast. The summary and takeaway is as follows. We have 2 sides here. We have the nefesh of the kiss and nefesh habahamis, and we have the fire in the middle. We have a fire of both of them. A person needs to be on fire. If he's not on fire with the nefesh of the kiss, which is better things, it doesn't mean you should take away the nefesh habahamis fire, because then he's a dead person. You can't serve Hashem with simcha. You can't do anything. You should only push out the fire of the nefesh, push out the fire of the nefesh habahamis when the nefesh kiss needs more space. So practically that means when you are having a good time, when you're enjoying, only when you're enjoying holy things, then you can push out basic needs of the nefesh habahamis, like eating, sleeping, and etc. Because you're living off that fire of the nefesh kiss. And how much more so, you should not put out the fire for stupid things, like to put that for mocking people, whether it be for whatever stupid reason with the food or whatever the way they look and stuff like that. Chaim Devracha. Hopefully this podcast should help bring Mashiach closer. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share, which helps the algorithm, which brings it to more people, and which ultimately brings Mashiach. Chaim Devracha, Mashiach now.